Welcome to Just a Bit of Home. I'm Tara, and today I'm going to show you how I use stencils to paint on canvas. This is not a traditional reverse canvas, as I leave the canvas in the original state. I do not take it apart, and I create my own frame around the canvas. I paint my canvas in advance, and I use Oracle 651 vinyl for my stencils. I also like to use Oracle transfer paper. I ordered this in error and it actually ended up being one of the best transfer papers I've ever used. Finished weeding all of the excess vinyl from my stencil, I will then use the transfer paper and the large Cricut scraping tool to transfer the stencil to the transfer paper. By pushing on the transfer paper excessively hard, I'm able to adhere the stencil to the transfer paper and then peel off the blue backing from the stencil. Once I have done this, it sometimes can be difficult to remove. I flip the stencil over and I fold back in a rolling motion to remove the backing. Once the backing is removed, I then measure and place my stencil onto my canvas. I use points of reference to ensure that I have it straight and measured where I would like it to be. Once I have it there, I rub excessively hard again to transfer the stencil. The more friction, the better, and then I peel back the transfer paper in a folding motion similar to what I did when I removed the backing paper. You may need to use your fingers or some of the Cricut tools to give the stencil a little extra love to help it adhere to the canvas. My canvases are painted with chalk paint, so this does help with the adhesion, and then I give a little finger rub to rub out any of the areas. Afterwards, I will then use a thin layer of Mod Podge. A thin layer of Mod Podge is required. This really helps with the bleeding process, and sometimes when the smaller pieces move around, it will help keep your smaller pieces stationary. I then use chalk paint and Martha Stewart pouncers to apply my paint. I do typically 2 coats, but I don't fully let the second coat dry. On the second coat, I'm usually looking for the areas that need touch-up, and before it dries, I pull off my stencil. I like to try and pull off my stencil when it's wet so that I can go around and scrape off some of the areas that have wet Mod Podge and paint. This actually allows you to pull off the excess paint that has bled out or anything like that. If you're pulling out the middle sections though, you need to be careful because it will spread, and if you drop the piece, you'll make paint all over your items. So I pull off the big sections and then I pull off the little ones when it's dry afterwards. Once the canvas is completely dried and all the small pieces have been removed, I will then use tiny artist paintbrushes to touch up all of the areas that are required. By painting the canvas in advance, this allows me to give that clean, crisp, sharp look to my paintings. Once all the touch-ups have dried, I then apply a clear coat of Rust-Oleum clear spray to seal all of my designs and to protect them. I hope you liked this video. I hope this tutorial was of help to you. If you enjoyed it, check out my page, justabitofhome.com, or check me out on Facebook, or I'm also on Instagram. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again.